said, "Get out of it." Well, maybe she wouldn't have. She was so taken with me, she might have put up with it. But I don't think for very long. Pretty soon, things would get kind of nasty. Oh, that damn Margaret again. Why don't you get rid of her? I mean, what do you owe her? She breaks your dates more often than not. And of course, if I ever told Margaret about Lucy, our relationship would last about another 30 seconds. Frankly, I think it's teetering on the brink anyway. Sometimes I imagine I'm doing a high-wire balancing act with the two of them. Well, anyway, the Rio trip was off. Margaret was staying in Washington, up to her ears in work, but we can manage to get together now and then. And Mexico with Lucy was down the drain. I couldn't imagine what to tell her. So right then, I decided to simplify my life. Yeah, give her the wife and kids line. I hated it, but it seemed best. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. It was for the best. Yeah.
Ah, sweet mirror. Still friendly. Not quite as loving as you used to be, but still on my side. Listen, I have a date with, wait for it, a 20-something. Edmund. He's absolutely gorgeous. I mean it. Drop dead handsome. Tall, slender, dark. I won't go on. You'd be embarrassed. Everyone else calls him Ed. Well, that's what he tells me. I don't know any of his friends, and certainly not his family. He thinks I'm wonderful. Ha, I can stand that. He thinks I know absolutely everything and have been everywhere, which, in fact, I pretty much have. I was, if you will, a diplomat. I joined the service after an event, a rather traumatic event, but enough of that. Do I mother Edmund? Of course I do. Not too much. I mean, I don't make him eat his spinach. Well, wait. Yes? Sometimes I do that too, but mostly I exert gentle, loving guidance. At least that's what I think. Maybe that's why he is so special to me, the mothering. I love it. Is he a toy boy? Well, maybe, but much more. My friends tell me I'm mad, galloping to disaster, riding with Custer, as they used to say. And of course, I am, but it doesn't matter. There's no stopping it. Sometimes I craft little speeches to bring it all to a close, and then he shows up, and I forget every word at the first glance. I tell you, whoever created love should have gone back to the drawing board. If you think sex is complicated, love puts it in the shade. As I mentioned, I once had a nasty blow, and I never really got over it. I just stuffed it way, way back, but I never lost it. I joined the Foreign Service. That's what Americans call their diplomatic corps. Don't confuse it with the Foreign Legion. That's a French thing. And no, I was not a spy, which lots of people are certain you are if you're an attractive, single woman with a diplomatic passport. And I had relationships. They were fun, but they couldn't last. Routine reassignments always ended them. So I always kept something in reserve. Still, I hated farewells. Eventually, I left the service, settled in Washington, and met Edmund. Yes, of course, it's going to end someday. Maybe soon. It's been over a year now. Wow. Sooner or later, he'll meet some little cutie. Probably with a blonde, swishy ponytail, nice round boobies, and a perfect handful each, and a maddening little twitchy butt. Any man will follow her to hell, and that'll be the end of me. How will I handle that? Well, what do you do when you lose both a lover and a son? Oh, I know. It sounds like a Freudian case history. I just hope to God Edmund will know how to be nice, how to handle it. Not just phone me some night, tell me it's all over, and not to call him anymore. I don't know if I could handle that again. That bastard! Out of the blue. I still remember his words. Hello, it's Charlie. Look, Cancun is off, I'm sorry. And me, all ready to meet him at the airport, getting a little fresh air, then just gonna grab my bags and dash off the moment he phoned. Cancun is off. I won't be calling you again. I just can't do this to my family anymore. I hope you understand. All I could do was sit on that bench and weep with that crazy old guy next to me who for sure couldn't figure out what in hell was going on. Just sat there eating a wretched hot dog. Oh, how I wanted to shove it up. Never mind. So yes, I'm taking a huge risk. I could never go through that again, especially not with a lover who's a surrogate son. I couldn't stand it. Yes, it was ages ago, but that kind of a pain, well, some of you probably know. So please, God, when the time comes, let Edmund be gentle. I'm tempted to tell him that, but I don't like to put the idea in his head. I'm so afraid it's him. I long for his calls, but I dread them too. Ridiculous, isn't it? Hello, darling? Where are you? Wonderful. I'll be right there. Well, excuse me. I must run.
Oh God, oh God, oh God. What in the name of the Lord was I thinking? Of like, why? Why did I do it? I don't owe anything to Lucille. I mean, if I want to go out with someone, why shouldn't I? We're not married after all. But that's not really the point anymore, is it? Not now. I think the real thing, the problem at the bottom of it all, is that I've always been the little guy. Number 2. My brother was called Big Boy. That's what my parents called him. And who was I? Well, Squirt, I guess. I mean, they didn't say that, but they didn't need to. I mean, Lucille is like marvelous, amazingly bright, totally sophisticated. I mean, really sophisticated. Not in a stupid show off way like some of the girls at the university are, but Lucille even tries to play it down. But when you've been everywhere and you've done everything, it's hard to hide it. Look, I'll admire a pin she's wearing, and she'll say, "Oh, do you like it? I'm so glad. I got it years ago at a street fair in Kuala Lumpur." Or, "Thank you, Edmund. I picked it up in a funny little antique shop in Prague." I love that about her, but it makes me think, like, where the hell have I ever been, and whatever have I done? Yeah, I know she's years older than me, so it's stupid to think that way, but still, sometimes I'll be frank about it. I really want to be big boy and not just some lovable little squirt. Oh yeah, I know I sound like something out of a psychology textbook. Well, I can't help it. It's the truth. And on top of that, I may never do the stuff that she's done. My dad wants me to be a lawyer. That means spending my life in a big glass box on K Street. Yeah, I know. I, I, I don't have to do it because he wants me to, but as he points out, he's paying a bundle for my education, and a career in law would provide me with a pretty good life. Maybe even a great life if I play my cards right. Maybe. Maybe so. Um, I sure as hell don't have a good counter proposal. Counter proposal. I'm starting to sound like a lawyer already. Maybe that's what was going on when I picked up Sally. You know, who am I and what will I ever amount to? Crap. Well, maybe. But let's get real. A guy doesn't need complicated explanations for picking up Sally. She's a total sex bomb. She's cute beyond belief with her swishy ponytail and swingy walk. She's a couple of years behind me in school, a sophomore. And hey, she thought I was a great, totally cool dude who had really done stuff. Christ, how Lucy would laugh at that. Well, no, she wouldn't. Not out loud, at least. But that's what's so great about her. But I wasn't just horny. Sally wanted me, and when she looked at me, she saw, well, big boy. I mean, that's what I thought anyway. And I know it's corny. Yeah, tell me about it. But that's how I felt. And let me tell you something else. I loved it. We met at that bar a couple of blocks from here at a hangout for university kids, and sometimes one or two older guys float around in there like chicken hawks, looking for something to grab. And they're rarely disappointed. It's a place where you can walk around the bar once and then walk out with a chick on your arm. And that's about what I did. Then off we went to Sally's dorm, which is strictly against the rules, of course, which is such a laugh. God, I wish it wasn't. I wish somebody had grabbed me and thrown me the hell out of there before I got in that damn bed. I'm totally embarrassed, and that's for damn sure. And I'm completely ashamed of myself, and I can't explain it, but I feel like a squirt. And oh, you know what? Hell enough. I've got to go. I have something utterly gut-wrenching to do. I have to tell Lucille, not just about Sally, but about what the doctor told me.
I just need a little fresh air before I go in there. My appointment's at 10. And I know what that doctor is going to say. And yes, I've been so stupid and careless. Poor Edmund. Well, no, he's a bastard. He could have protected himself after all, and I didn't even know I had it. Still, I feel sorry for him. Oh, Lord, I've been such a little slut. It started here. I wasn't like that in Australia. I wanted to come here so badly. Oh, I didn't want to leave my mom, but I wanted to come here and see my dad and go to school here. And it was all going to be so wonderful. But somehow it just hasn't been like I imagined. Yeah, I have friends, not lots, but enough. And guys by the carload. And I guess that's the problem. The guys. I mean, it's so easy. I've let it kind of get like an addiction. And it's all kind of crass, like something you're supposed to do. Get it on and get it over. But the thing is, I liked it. I admit it, and I did. Now it's like I'm looking for something, and always looking in the wrong place. I guess that's the definition of a neurotic. Someone who knows what she's doing is useless, hell, painful even, but keeps doing it. Actually, it was kind of different with Edmund. For one thing, I remember his name, but I really liked him. He was, like, different, gentle, sweet. I don't think that's the way he wants girls to think of him, but that's the way he is. It was kind of cute. The way he wanted to be, I don't know, impressive. So, heck, I pretended to be impressed, wowed by what he's done. Why not? It was good for him. Even though he's done practically zip, really. No, that's too hard. But really not much, except he's done well in school and went to Mexico once with his mother. I really hoped he would come back. I waited for a while, and then I got a phone call. When I saw his name on my caller ID, I was like, absolutely thrilled, over the moon. I'll never forget it, ever. I was sure he was going to say he'd been away and that he was back and wanted to see me right away. My mind went crazy in that split second. I saw the meeting, a huge embrace, and then endless dates, on and on and... Well, if I was speechless, that was fine. I didn't need to talk. He handled that pretty well. He began in this stern voice, like I didn't know what was happening. He was lecturing me about something like some ratty policeman who stops your car. I couldn't imagine him ever sounding like that. Ranting on and on, something about disease, about being deceived. It got crazier as he went on. I couldn't get a word in. I tried to stop him, and it was totally impossible. So finally, I hung up on him, and then I just wept. I don't know how long. I felt so awful. All I wanted to do was to go back to Australia where I had real friends, back to my mother. Maybe that sounds childish, babyish even, but it's the truth. That's all I wanted. Oh, it hasn't always been great between my mom and me. She divorced my dad. I hated that. And maybe I'm a little jealous of her. Attractive, bright, self-confident. Listen, her grandfather, that's my great-grandfather. God, that sounds like it was before the earth cooled, doesn't it? Anyway, he used to come to Australia, sometimes twice a year, just to see her. Think of it. Do you know where Australia is? It's absolutely on the opposite side of the globe from Washington, D.C. So yeah, Maybe in a funny way, I'm a little envious. God, to have someone love you like that. That would be so great. Maybe that's what I've been looking for here in DC. Maybe. I don't know. But if it is, my method sure has been all wrong, searching for it on a hotbed every night. Well, here I am. I'll tell my shitty little story to the doctor, and then, oh, I don't know. Then I think I just want to go home, wherever that is.
Yes, it's over. And yes, I am sad. And yes, I am depressed. It all unraveled pretty much as I knew it would. Maybe I should say as I feared. And yes, it's surprising how I feel. I'm in pain, no question, but not nearly as much as I thought I'd be. I don't know why not. But there's a time for everything, as the good book says. I really believe the end time had come for Edmund and me. I was already beginning to think that, slowly, reluctantly, my heart kicking and screaming and shouting, no! But then Edmund's late night follies pretty well blew it all away. Oh, incidentally, I saw my doctor yesterday. I don't have a problem. Thank heavens. But I tell you, I had a firestorm of anger when Edmund told me about his gala evening, especially the medical fallout. Did you give one thought to me? For God's sake, I remember shouting to what it would mean for me. You infect me with some wretched disease. What the hell were you thinking? I was shouting like a banshee. I was furious about the disease, or I was just in a jealous rage. Who knows? Not me. But finally, I calmed down. In fact, believe it or not, I even began to see glimmers of the comedy in it all. Like one of those movies the Italians used to make. And after a bit, Edmund and I even managed to discuss it dispassionately. Well, pretty much anyway. After all, we both needed to begin acting our age, as my mother used to say. Believe it or not, I could still see her wagging her crooked index finger under my nose while I was, in fact, looking into Edmund's terrified eyes. Finally, we even got so that we could talk about her. Sally, that's the vixen's name. Well, no, I shouldn't call her that. What did she do after all? let an attractive guy pick her up and take her to bed with him? That's about what I did, isn't it? Actually, she sounds nice enough. Probably didn't even know she had that disease. Edmund obviously likes her. He described her almost glowingly until I reminded him that I was in the room. I do think she did a job on him, made him feel like some Napoleon. Well, why not? Sometimes wonder what I was making him feel like. There were probably times when he needed a lot of hot chick instead of a hot mama. Or maybe in addition to a mama. I'll bet there are a lot of men who need that. Well, too bad. Life just isn't set up for that. Not in the world Edmund and I live in anyway. If you want both, you've got to sneak one or the other. Then he told me about a really awful phone call he made to her. The poor child. He said by the end, she was in tears. I could hardly bear to think about it. I must have looked like one of those Alaskan totem poles, stiff and grimacing, a man on a phone telling a girl horrible things. It all just poured over me. I was speechless for I don't know how long. Staring into the void of an event so far in the past, I should have forgotten it ages ago, but no. It seems always to be there, always ready to pounce. For a moment, Edmund was worried about me. Are you all right, he asked. What's happening? Edmund, you've got to call her back, I told him finally. He was amazed. Whatever happened, you did it to yourself. You picked her up. You were careless. She may not even have known she had a problem. Call her, Edmund. For heaven's sake, call the poor child. Apologize and make up. That's what I was saying, or something like that anyway. Oh, he objected, but I could tell he really wanted to. He just needed urging. Promise me something, I said. Promise me you will call her and then call me and tell me what happened. Why was she so important to me, he asked. And I said I wasn't sure. Maybe it was just female solidarity. I let it go at that. Anyway, there is good news at last. Edmund made the call. He said that they had a long, long talk. They're going to see each other tonight. How does that make me feel? A little pleased with myself, of course, and sad, and lonely, and a little lost. But time will help. I believe that. Time will help.
Like the drama.
Yeah, I was like, he's gonna continue, yes. And then you're like, I'm done.
Alright, because I can't read that.
No, it's coming.
Okay.
Hey, you gotta read squiggle squiggles.
Everybody else read it. What's your problem?
Excuse me, can you count from 1 to 10, please?
Sure.